Hey, we're live. That looks a little laggy. What's going on with the computer? Don't know if that's a problem or not. Let's find out. It's Friday! Just saying. Doing some checking of things to make sure things are actually working. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna do a little test. Oh, it's okay. It's just my side. It looked like it was really, really laggy, but on TikTok. But apparently that was not a thing. Okay. Welcome to the FriYAY show. Yeah, we're doing AskaTrafficCOP. It's Friday. That means tomorrow is not a work day for me anyway. I'm sorry if you have to work, but I don't. And really, it's all about me right now. I'm looking forward to a break. I need to take a little rest. This whole getting up early in the morning thing is, it's a thing that I would like a break from. Anyway, if you're watching, you're probably watching on one of these platforms because we are broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and of course, X, formerly known as Twitter. Still Twitter for most people. In any case, we're everywhere, and if you want to message us to say hello and discuss stuff and things about police, traffic law, and what's the other thing we talk about? Traffic law, traffic safety. I did it out of order. Yeah, you ever go to McDonald's and order fries and then order the burger, and then they ask you, would you like fries with that? Because it's an order of operations that's ingrained in our brains. So if you order your fries, try it. Try ordering fries. Actually, I don't even know. Do people still say, is that part of McDonald's culture that you're trained to say, would you like fries with that? Does anyone order not a combo? Does anyone talk to anybody anymore? Is it all done on an app? That's maybe the real question, because I used to work at McDonald's when I was like 13 years old, and I remember I remember parts of the training. I also remember like having to be fast. Not every McDonald's is fast. In fact, I think that fast food is no longer fast food. It's mediocre or slow food. Yeah. Anyway, there are McDonald's that are awesome. Just saying. If you're watching, you may have noticed that we have podcast episodes. Did I upload the one from yesterday? I may have forgotten. I may have to put up two today. Maybe I'll put up yesterday's today and today's tomorrow. In any case, you should follow us on the podcast platforms so you can listen whenever those episodes finally migrate their way to the internet. Apple Podcast is my choice player, but that doesn't mean it's good for you. Maybe you want to listen on Spotify natively. Maybe you want to listen on iHeart Podcasts. They have an app too. Wherever you want to listen, know that you can download, synchronize, take offline and not burn data, and listen to the audio-only version after the fact legally whilst you drive. It's a thing, you know. Okay. Where are we and what are we talking about now? Let's see. We got to talk about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. What do we say about them? We say that, actually, what did we talk about? We talked about the fact that we had stunt driving stuff up. Stunt driving is a topic that's on everybody's mind. We talk about stunt driving on the regular. But, yeah, today, before we talk about stunt driving, we can talk about the fact that Vision Zero Enforcement Team is a dedicated group of officers who spend time in the city of Toronto, and they do diligent work to change driver behavior by focusing on the big four: speeders, aggressive drivers, distracted drivers, and impaired drivers, one ticket at a time to change the world. That's what they're doing. But not everybody learns the lesson. Sometimes people are repeat offenders. Can you imagine having more than one stunt driving charge on your record? Yeah, it happens. Today they're in 52 Division and 42 Division. And you know what you could do if you were really interested? Because probably some people say, hey, what are these divisions? If you go to tps.ca, you can even look up what division you live in if you didn't know. I hope you know. But if you don't know, then you don't know. You should look it up. tps.ca/careers if you're interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police. That's a great place to go. Do we do a quick look up here? I'm just really curious now. I am curious to know if any new jobs have been posted. And I see some messages from Josh's, what is it? Josh and Hug? Am I reading that right? Josh's and Hug. Sandhug. Josh Sandhug. Okay. I'm having difficulty reading out of the corner of my eye. What do I want to see here? See if there's any new jobs since yesterday. We had 3 posted yesterday. Let's see if anything. Waiting. 2. One came off. Now there's only senior programming and communications operator. Still great opportunities if you know somebody who's interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service. A career with an amazing opportunities. Yeah. Go check it out. Okay. We have Brian McD. Brian McD wants to know, has a quick question about why do some religion do not have to wear helmets on motorcycle? It's not some religion. It's a specific people. It is practicing members of the Sikh faith who wear turbans, and as a result of wearing those turbans, helmets don't go over them, at least not that I'm aware of. And there was a decision made, because multiple provinces had already made this decision, and Ontario followed suit, to provide, I believe, what's considered a religious exemption. So instead of saying, you just can't do it, and then that precludes an entire group of people from participating because of their faith, they decided to make an exemption. Now, I can't tell you anything beyond that because it's like, for instance, people say, well, it's not safe. Why are they allowed to do it? They're allowed to do it based on the I think it was an application made on a religious grounds. Is it safer? No, but it is acceptable, and there is now an exemption under law. Okay. Errol says, good morning. Good morning, Errol. Toronto Roadcamp says, good morning. Good morning to you. Cough, and they have a mask emoji, says, what is this? How do I drive my old when the old number has been transferred to my new car and I'm moving? How do I drive my old? What are we talking about? Your old car? Your old what? If you're talking about your old car, you'll have to get it towed because if it's not plated because you've transferred your license plates to the new car, you can't drive it. But I don't know exactly what you're talking about. I'm guessing that you're talking about that. And if I'm right, please let me know because I'd be very curious if I was able to put all that together from what you gave me. In any case, if you buy a new car and the plates come off of your old car, it's no longer plated for the road. And, you could possibly apply for a temporary license plate, but I'm assuming you've also transferred insurance off of your vehicle, at which point you could not put it on the road at all. Towing would be the only option. Somebody says, what is this? Oh, someone has, I don't get what you're saying. Okay. Why are motorcycles allowed to have insanely loud exhausts and my car can't? Well, motorcycles can't have insanely loud exhausts either. There's no permission slip to have that. Motorcycles are slightly louder than cars because they're motorcycles. You have an engine, and on that engine, you have a little pipe. So, they tend to be a little louder, but they're not allowed to be excessively, or as you said, insanely loud. Do you have an insanely loud motorcycle?
You
used to?
I actually used to.
It's funny how that it's.
I am the only person, I think, in the world who's ever taken an aftermarket performance exhaust off a motorcycle because it was too loud, and I put the stock one back on just to make it reasonable. Still sounds good.
Yeah.
But I like your technical analysis of the difference between cars. They have a little pipe, and that means the car has a longer.
Well, it's basically. I mean, what is a motorcycle? A motorcycle is an engine with wheels and a seat. I mean, there's not much else going there. All of the other stuff, the pipe that runs from the front. I mean, going catalytic converter, resonator, muffler. There's a lot more going on in a motor vehicle or in a car, an automobile's exhaust system than that in a.
You may think so, but actually, the modern day motorcycles have catalytic converters and things as well.
But everything?
Yeah.
No kidding. It's just that big.
Maybe not resonators, but.
But it's reasonable to me that a motorcycle would be somewhat louder than a car, just based on what we're looking at.
And that's why the City of Toronto bylaw focused primarily, first of all, on motorcycles, because that's where the noise usually came from. Now there's a trend to do this to automobile exhausts and just open them up and make it obsessively loud for them as well. So,
but what's interesting, I find, is that most people don't find themselves getting into trouble, even if their exhaust system is marginally louder than what they should have even. We're not out there saying, you're 2 decibels above the limit, let's get you a ticket. Like, that's not generally what's happening. What's happening is people are doing stuff to draw attention to themselves by way of behavior. Stuff is revving, racing, going quickly, chewing through the gears. They're behaving in a way that draws attention, and as a result, gets attention. What did I just do here? I just realized I'm off the Wi-Fi.
Oh.
I don't want to be streaming this onto my phone using my data. It's not fun. I don't want that. But I want to be able to see what's going on in the chat. So let me fix that. I fixed that, and now we're fixed. Okay. Hopefully that answers your
the question. Yes, motorcycles are not allowed. Cars are not allowed.
No one's allowed.
No one's allowed.
And just to really clarify, it's not just exhaust. You can't make noise from your horn unnecessarily. You can't make noise from stereo system. You can't emit noise or sound that is unnecessary to the safe operation of your vehicle. And even if it was, is there any other than, so a horn for the purposes of saying, hey, you need a cough drop? I got cough drops. I got Halls.
I ran up here, so I was out doing policing things. That's why I'm fully
policed up,
dressed. I've got the vest on. I was on the road today.
How was the road?
The road was good. Busy.
Good roads is good. Busy roads are not
busy.
Good. Wouldn't you want to hear them so you don't hit them? Oh, this is a discussion. Yes, this is a response to Benny, so really not a question to us, but this goes to the loud pipes save lives theory, which is false, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that. There's this thing called the Doppler effect, and you always laugh when I say that. I start talking about Doppler. Have you ever heard that thing where the car is going by, it goes by? Sound doesn't just travel the way you might think it travels. In fact, many people don't realize that police sirens at highway speeds, you have to be like a car length away to actually hear it in a car.
Yeah, you can't hear it. And you know what? You can't hear motorcycles behind you unless they're really, really close. By then, it's
you scare
too
the
late.
crap out of somebody is what you do.
The noise coming out of the back of a motorcycle comes out the back. Everybody who you've already passed, who is no longer going to affect you, is listening to you.
And hating you.
Or all the people that are sitting on their front porch or in their driveway or in their kitchen, they all hear you. If loud pipes saved lives, we'd point them at the front.
This is true. And you still wouldn't work because, like I said, a siren, but it still doesn't project far enough away. Anyway, by the way, before we answer the next question, which is already on the screen, my name is Sean Shapiro. This is Sergeant Murray Campbell. We are the Toronto Police Traffic Services Unit. Well, it's not just us.
No, we are a little portion of it.
Itty bitty.
Yeah.
Traffic Safety Programs Unit within Traffic Services. And we talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And your questions are what we want to hear. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask, regardless of the platform you're on. I see a couple of them came in while I was staring elsewhere from the magical people on Instagram. Will come. I think I said before you came in, I'd look there next, and I didn't look there. But I'll look there next.
Really? You squirreled?
It never happens.
Yeah.
Do you have to replace a plate if they become wrinkly and unreadable through no fault of your own?
Absolutely.
You are responsible for that, keeping it, maintaining it in good order. Even though it doesn't technically belong to you, if it doesn't look good or if it's illegible, you got to take it in and replace it.
You know what? The government manufactures these, and they obviously went by the cheapest manufacturer, but they say you got to pay for it, and they say you got to put it on your car, and they say when, it gets all wrinkly and falls apart, you got to do something about it. Some plate series are covered under warranty, so as soon as it starts happening, bring it in and get it replaced.
5 years is generally what it is.
Some are not. And as a driver, you have to pay for the government's, inability to get some really good quality plates. But that happens.
It does. I'm staring over here as I'm trying to cut and paste questions. So yes, and it's $110 fine if your plates aren't appropriately displayed in good condition. Yeah. Or dirty, just dirt on them, or covered by a tinted cover.
Not even a tinted cover.
True.
Any cover. Even the ones that the dealership gives you to advertise their dealership, that's $110.
Which I've never understood. Why on earth would you want to advertise for them? If they were paying rent, I would sort of understand. Sort of. But not really.
No.
Okay, last one. Yes. Okay, good. Somebody who asked a question yesterday that left before I got to answer it, but I sort of texted it to them. Okay, last thing. It was the last one. I'm cutting and pasting into the chat. Let's see here. So thank you very much, by the way, for asking the question. I love questions. Questions are good. Without questions, we'd have nothing to answer. All right, let me go back to gets to see who's next in line. Who is jacked up to the magnificent? Says hello, officers. That was an easy one. Hello is the response. We can do that. Can my plates be pulled for not meeting emission requirements?
Depends. Depends on what section. There is a possibility, yes, and you'd have to be sent in again for repairs.
Now, generally speaking, we pull plates for unsafe motor vehicle as opposed to there's not much else that we pull plates for. Like there are some things, but not much else.
Using plates not authorized, unsafe. There's a few of them. Under the Highway Traffic Act emissions, there's no authority to take the plates off. But under the environmental protection, you may not be able to continue operating your motor vehicle. Mm-hmm. And the way we do that is by removing the plates to make it. You go in, get it fixed, get it repaired.
Reapply.
Yeah.
Is lane splitting legal at the traffic stop? At the traffic stop. Not a police traffic stop. Stop traffic at a red light. So lane splitting and lane filtering are two different terms that are generally used to describe driving between vehicles. And in Canada, I'm not aware of anywhere that condones or expressly permits it. Lane splitting is generally considered careless, stunt, or even dangerous driving, depending on what we're seeing at the time that we're seeing it. But lane filtering, we've had some interesting discussions on, and that's where, is where people drive through traffic that is stopped at very, very slow, trying to get up. Now, if you're driving past everybody who stopped at the front of the pack, that's really what filtering is meant to be. Yeah. And I have a problem. I have a problem with that. I don't have a problem, however, if you were to simply snuggle in between two cars and get a couple of car lengths forward and stop, because you're not trying to be a jerk to pass everybody, but you are trying to prevent yourself from being hit by someone who's on their phone and is yet to stop.
Right.
So I could justify allowing one behavior whilst not allowing the other.
And I understand that. Being the last vehicle in the line, and that being a motorcycle, if somebody is not paying attention to you and rams into the back of you, you just become a squished sandwich.
It's a bad day at the office.
Yes. I understand people that want to move over and move into the sort of the line in between lanes just to save themselves from being really
a pancake.
I get it. Is it lawful? No. But I get it. Is it lawful to go right up to the very front at every red light? No. And you know what happens? It upsets people. It upsets people.
And people say, well, I don't care how you feel. It's about me and my safety. Well, I get it. But, you want to have a positive vibe going. You want people to appreciate motorcyclists and think that they're part of the community and not go, you develop as negative, and then people are focused on you. They're looking at you. You know what happens when you look at something? You hit that thing. Yeah. And I mean that. Why do you think every pole in a collision, somehow the poles on the highway are the most hit things ever?
Yeah, because people look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, look out for the pole. Boom.
Target fixation.
Yep.
So you don't want people paying attention.
Oh, there's a pothole in the road. I'll have to go. Boom.
Look where you want to go.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Look around the corner.
We got Glamorous who says, hello, beautiful. But they're talking to Blondie. They're having a conversation amongst themselves. I'm going to just stir my way out.
Are you Blondie?
I am not Blondie.
Nah, neither am I.
But I can see. Renee says, hey, fellas. What is the status on policing those electric scooters on the sidewalks? Are they illegal? So if the electric scooter has so many potential, it could be described several things. So we'll just cover all of them. No, they're not legal, and no, they're not allowed on the sidewalk. Now, if you're talking about e-bikes, they're legal if they conform to the statute, but they are not legal on sidewalks. In the city of Toronto, anyway, because in the city of Toronto, we have bylaws about bicycles being on the sidewalk, scooters from being on the sidewalk. Could be jurisdictions where they're allowed.
Other local jurisdictions around here allow them. In fact, there are rental programs where they encourage you to kick scooters on the sidewalk, e-bikes on the sidewalk. We're just too busy here. We are absolutely too busy. Too many pedestrians. There's too much danger.
Pedestrians need a safe place to go.
Yeah.
If you take
That's
away
why they call it a sidewalk.
Yes. So if you take away every space, and we're talking about people who have mobility issues, people who are elderly, people who are young, people who just don't want to get hit by motor scooters, and what people seem not to understand. And there were some comments yesterday that I responded to on TikTok in relation to electric unicycles. So
oh wow.
Yeah, because they were like, well, it's a motor vehicle according to you, but you're not allowed to license it for the road, so I don't get it. Well, there are motor vehicles that you cannot license for the road because not everything is safe for the road. And those, as much as they are really cool, are not safe for the road. They're not something that's good for a private property thing.
You know what? Growing up, I had a go-kart.
Yeah.
It would have been the funnest thing to be riding on the road. It was like riding on rails. Is it safe to be licensed for the road? No. And just like the unicycle, they're not. There's no safety whatsoever in those.
But they're cool. The technology around them is cool.
I do want to try it. If anybody has one, I'd love to try one.
I met a guy at a Porsche event, and we were having a discussion about how it must have magically appeared and he didn't drive it to where we were, but that it was a cool device. In Japan, I've seen videos of people renting go-karts and traveling in packs on the road, like Super Mario Kart blazing go-karts.
Bling, 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 bling.
But they're not. There's no bling, bling, bling. But they're all, doing the Mario Kart thing on the road. Anyway, with big flags so people can see them because they're low. You get anyway.
Yeah.
So e-kick scooters, which is probably what you were originally asking about, totally illegal in Toronto, in the city of Toronto. We don't allow them in. $110 fine if you're fined, but is there a lot of enforcement on them? We had a lot of priorities that come well above that. If we see it, you might find yourself getting ticketed.
And are there actually injuries and fatalities from people?
Absolutely.
Cyclists hitting, e-bikes hitting pedestrians, e-scooters? Yes. It happens. And somebody's getting hurt. And we're here to try and stop that. Somebody gets injured, sent to the hospital, has injuries for the rest of their life. We're here to try and stop that.
Can auxiliary officers arrest people? I was an auxiliary officer. I started off my career as an auxiliary officer. I had so much fun. I loved the Toronto Police so much. I decided to join up and become a court officer. But as an auxiliary officer, I'm a uniformed volunteer, but I'm a civilian. So under the Criminal Code of Canada, my arrest authorities are the same as a civilian's. But civilians can make arrests, and the difference between a civilian who is an auxiliary and a civilian who is not is that the auxiliary receives training from the Toronto Police and has the support and a police radio and people who know where they are in self-defense training.
And they know exactly what their powers of arrest are and where they stop as well.
Yes.
Where most people out there on the road as a citizen doesn't know that and could be held liable criminally and civilly for anything that they go above or beyond what they're allowed to do.
False arrest is bad. Illegal arrest, bad. Liability.
An assault, everything.
Yeah. So while they can make arrests, generally auxiliary officers are not arresting, well, because of the authorities they have, are not arresting for the same things. Now, if they're given direction by a police officer, they suddenly have the full extension of the powers of police because they're taking direction from a police officer. Totally different situation.
And I've been at events, parades, stuff like that, where I've actually had to arrest somebody. And there was a bunch of things going on all at the same time. And I was there with an auxiliary officer, and I arrested somebody and passed him right over to the auxiliary officer and said, do not let this guy go. He's under arrest. That auxiliary officer has all my powers to hold on to that person.
But you could equally tell any member of the public to assist you.
That is correct.
But again, training versus no training. But yeah, the law is a pretty amazing thing, and how authorities work, it's pretty cool. Police powers, there are special, so above a civilian power of arrest, you then have special constables who have they have expanded powers of arrest while they're at work. Conditional powers
for certain acts
right.
and certain things.
Whereas police officers have police officer powers 24/7. They're police officers at any time, day or night. Yeah. Loud pipes save lives. Jonathan FS must have missed our discussion already, talking about the fact that is not actually true, but it's a nice thought, and it just annoys people. It doesn't save anybody.
Apparently, your YouTube messaging is not showing for you.
YouTube messaging is not. I'm not seeing messages on YouTube. Or they're not seeing all the questions show up, because there is a Relay app, and the Relay app takes all the questions that show up on screen and puts them. That may not be working.
Yeah, there you
but
go.
As long as they can hear us and see us, then it's good. Unless we can't see messages from YouTube, that's a different situation. Let's open up YouTube and see what we're missing out.
That's probably what it is. Now we have hit 10:30.
This is true.
And at 10:30, I turn in a pumpkin.
You got to go?
I got to go. I got stuff and things to do.
There's
I
always.
didn't actually expect to be here right now.
I thought you were going to be elsewhere.
The thing that I was dealing with this morning miraculously went very, very smoothly.
But that's a good thing.
And I got cleared up very, very quickly. So, and I have a whole bunch of stuff to do now because of it. This morning. So,
Hey, what's this?
Hey, that sounds like me.
I see. I guess I see the chat's not showing up. I've never had a YouTube failure. Isn't that weird? So I can see that Chase says hello, and Heck Yeah says good morning, and wow, we're totally ignoring YouTube. But what a weird situation. So I'm just looking through. I got Stephen Bell and Michaela Draconis and Chase, and we got here.
I might have a direct line to somebody who's actually on YouTube right now that's coming into my watch.
Which is why we now know this, because otherwise. Chase is watching us on a 75-inch flat screen today.
Wow.
Julie Massey says, happy Friday, Sean and everyone. Samuel Jonathan says, good morning, Sean. Just a quick question. Can I get a ticket if a vehicle ownership is not signed, but the vehicle isn't mine? Yes. So you're not the owner, but if it's unsigned ownership, you're the driver, you're responsible. You got to check those documents before you get into the vehicle and go for a drive.
Make sure you got insurance on your car before you take this car. That's a big one.
Insurance is important. Insurance document, because if you don't surrender the card, you get the ticket.
Yeah.
If there is no insurance on the vehicle, that may be the owner's ticket. Yeah. Let's see here. When making a right turn in there. So I'm so glad you asked this question. This is a question that I was discussing on Jerry Agar on Wednesday, because although I didn't do it live on Wednesday, I did jump on the telephone I jumped online to get in for 10 minutes with Jerry. And someone called in with that question.
Talking about 10 minutes, that's all I had. So
see you later. Thanks so much for jumping in. All right. I got multiple devices. It feels like the olden days when I started doing the TikTok thing, and I had a phone for Instagram and a phone for TikTok. And so when you're making a right turn and there's a bicycle lane, what's the proper approach? Depends on the design of the particular intersection you're at, because sometimes there's a dotted line and a green, with or without the green space painted on the ground. That green space is there to tell everybody that cars and bikes might meet in the same space. Now, if there's a dotted line, a broken line, although there's no offense for crossing a line, you can't drive in a bicycle lane, but the line itself is not enforceable, but driving in the bicycle lane is. Where the dotted line exists is to invite you or tell you that you should pinch the curb there. Now, if it's a cycle track where you cannot because of barriers or curb or whatever the situation is that delineates between road and cycle track, well, then you need to simply not go into the bike lane, but you need to ensure that you're yielding to a bicycle. That doesn't mean you wait for the bicycle that's a kilometer away. It means if it's a reasonable amount of space that you could change and make the turn safely, you do. The bicycle should also adjust their speed to avoid running into you if they have the ability. They can't just barrel down the road at light speed and expect every car to avoid them. They have a responsibility to safely engage and cross that intersection. And cyclists very often don't like being told they have to slow down because it takes, juice to start catching up again. Anyway, caution is the number one thing that you should employ when interacting with with bicycles and pedestrians and anyone who might become involved in a collision with you, because at the end of the day, they're going to sue you and your insurance. So, yeah. And there's also, of course, hurting them. Now, what should a cyclist do? Like I said, in that area where you pinch the curb, they can pass you on the left. That's what they can do. Or they can slow down. All right. Francesca says, or for unnecessary honking and come to the corner of Queen and Woodbine. Oh, really? A lot of people doing that? Jacked up to the magnificent likes Doppler effect. Right on, right on. Let me try and catch up also for Daniel, who says, hi, Sean. Hello, Daniel. Okay, back to here. Watchdog 5705 says, hey, Sean, one of my dispatchers says she sees you all the time at the traffic unit and you are taller than the video shows and just as nice as you're online. Well, Watchdog, thank you. I'm 6'5", so I'm definitely bigger than I am on screen. People tend to get, thrown off by the fact. The number one thing I hear when I meet someone is, you're bigger on, live. And it's true, because I'm usually this big on your phone. But that's another story. And then in terms of being just as nice as I am online, this is me. This is who I am. This is not an act or a persona that I use for online. This is just me being me. So thank you. Let's see here. What advice do you have for someone in the Police Foundation program? The deal is that you should absolutely just keep being the best person you can be. I mean, work hard, study, get through it, keep your driving record clean, and then, apply. Graduate and apply. Apply now. Actually, apply before you graduate. If you're old enough, if you can meet the requirements, I would apply while you're in the program. And if they say no, you can keep doing the program. If they say yes, come on down. Let's see here. Chase says, my TPS division is OPP. I got a dad joke. I don't know. I want to try and fix I don't think I'm going to be able to. I've never seen YouTube not work. I should have known. I didn't immediately see a message from Akela as the first message in. Let's see here. Restream. No, I got to open up a different app. Stand by. Oh, come on, really? I don't want to mess with anything. It needs me to re-authenticate, which is going to be we're just going to deal with it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to deal with it. Apparently today's the TikTok day where we focus on TikTok. Interesting. Okay. Maybe I should actually read the joke because we're going to do a dad joke inset because I'm never going to find this again. So dad joke from Akela Draconis. The reopening of Lego World in 2020 was a big deal. People were lined up for blocks. Michael H. says, what do you call a detective that solves cases by luck? Sheer Luck Holmes. That's actually not bad. I just wanted to use that button. It wasn't that it was a bad joke. Let's see here. Do special constables have the same privileges as officers with respect to speed and handheld devices while driving in a marked fleet vehicle? I don't know about speed, honestly. They might, or they may not. They do, however, have the same exemptions for handheld communication. So do parking. Parking can use, if you're in a police vehicle, you have the exemption. Okay. So Michael, different Michael, asks if a Muslim woman is wearing a hijab, does she get the same treatment as a Sikh wearing a turban? And the answer is no, because the turban is, first of all, the exemption is specific to those of the Sikh faith. The Sikh faith, it's not Islam, it's Sikh. So, would the hijab actually prevent someone from wearing a helmet? And the answer is no, it wouldn't. Because it's just a thin piece of material as opposed to, and forgive me if I'm mistaken, my understanding is it's a thin piece of material. Okay. Boo, boo, boo. Good day to Big Jeff Fresh, who, of course, I didn't know said hello. Let's see. Scrolling. Richard, good morning. Late, of course. LJ, good morning. Anonymous. What do we got here? Good morning, Ryan Pinn. How high can I lift my Kawasaki Ninja? Nice. All right. Good. I think people figured out that stuff isn't working, so they stopped commenting there. But I can keep going to the other stuff now. We are experiencing technical difficulties in the YouTube world, and we don't know why. And it's a first time, and it's a FriYAY, so we're chill. We're just chill. Okay, I put a couple questions in earlier from Instagram, so we're going to scroll back and look for those. Stand by. And I scroll back too far. It's a good opportunity to have a sip of my coffee. Okay. This was one of the two questions. Oh, there's the other one. So this is the second question from Instagram. I'll do the first one in a second. I'm new to Canada, recently got G2. Question is, if the speed limit is 100K in the highway and I'm doing 120, is this normal? Is it normal that you're doing 20 kilometers over the posted limit and breaking the law? Sadly, it's normal. Is it legal? No. 100 kilometer an hour limit means the maximum that you're legally allowed to go is 100 kilometers an hour. Maximum. Just saying. Okay, we got, so this was the Josh Sand Hug. Do the breath sample request outlined in the Highway Traffic Act only apply to novice drivers, or does it apply to all licensed classes? If you're talking about the HTA breath samples, or samples in relation to the zero blood alcohol content requirements of G1, G2, M1, M2, or persons under 22, then that's who they apply to. And commercial motor vehicle operators, because they have to have a zero blood alcohol content. If you're talking about intoxication, impairment, that's Criminal Code of Canada that applies to all drivers. So a demand for a roadside screening device test is one that must be complied with by all drivers or any driver. H. Taylor says, so we talked about plates, and this is a follow-up question. He'd never seen wrinkly plates until he came to Ontario. We're special. They're special here. Yeah, it's no wrinkly. I love it. Okay, what is this? I've heard traffic officers say whatever they want, even if it's not truthful, over the radio. I've heard traffic. I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know why we'd say something that is not truthful. What kind of stuff are we talking about? You're making allegations. I'd like to understand what they are. Okay. Okay, we covered that one, covered this one. Okay. This is the question the third one from Instagram. Would like to get your perspective on merges and utilizing the zipper merge method. It's the only method that should be used. Zipper merge is an efficient and safe way to merge. That's where every other car goes. You use the entire lane, the entire lane when you're merging. A merge lane is generally long. Maybe not always long, but use the whole thing. When you get to the end, you merge in. And everyone has an opportunity to make space for you because you're using the whole lane. What people do, and they drive me crazy, is that the lane is long, and they will just jump into the first opportunity. And if it's in stop-and-go traffic, they jump in at the first opportunity, and then the entire on-ramp is backed up. And then the traffic on the road that feeds the on-ramp is backed up because they're doing it wrong. Merge, or zipper merge for the win. Okay. An insane amount of people cut the double line at the HOV lanes 427 north. If they're jumping into the HOV lane, that's breaking the law. It's enforceable. You can't use that lane. You can't, and because of the signage, you can't actually cross that line. It's the only lines that are enforceable in the HTA that I'm aware of, because it's really the signs that are enforceable. The lines themselves are not enforceable. It's the signs that say, "Thou shalt not do." Do I need to change address in G2 if I move to a new place? Yes, within 6 days of changing your address, because you're at a new place and you are responsible for changing your address, for notifying, for applying for a new. Yes. Scrolling back, a whole bunch of questions just came in. What is this? Sorry, scrolling back. Keep it a scrolling. Here we go. Why can I use a radar detector? You said radar. Why can't, I guess you meant to say, why can't I use a radar detector as opposed to why can I use it? Because you can't use it. They're illegal in the province of Ontario. You can't buy them, sell them, possess them, transport them, use them. You can't have them. If you do, it's a $180 fine, 2 demerit points. We have search and seizure authority, which means, and some person was getting like, you can't do that. You can't reach into my car. People get really tough. But at the end of the day, you cannot have them. And we can have you get out of the vehicle. We can search your vehicle. You can cry about it, but we have authority. So if we believe you have it, we can search for it and take it. What is this? If able, could you list the general driving school procedure you take before your G2? I don't know what would be current for a driving school procedure. I mean, I'm first of all, when I got my license, because I'm old as dirt, it was a different license. I had a 365, which was a 1-year driver permit or learner's permit, like a G1, but it was good for a year. I had it for an entire month before I got my full G license. You didn't need to wait. There's no graduated licensing. I'm older than that. How about catching the real criminals? Yeah, I've heard this one before. The deal is that criminals, people who violate the Criminal Code of Canada, are people we catch all the time as traffic officers. But we enforce the Highway Traffic Act because people make dumb moves on the road and people lose lives as a result of it. Now, not every tinted window causes a death. Not saying that they do, but sometimes they do, because tinted windows prevent you from seeing. Not being able to see the pedestrian means you hit the pedestrian. Hitting the pedestrian often results in them not being around to talk about it afterwards. So all the laws are important. They were created because they were important. But many people, and you claim to be a positive being, want people to live. This is a positive thing. See how I did that? Connected your username to positivity? Yeah, we want people to do the right thing. If you do the right thing, there's no issues. We have no problems with anyone who follows the law. So follow the law. Okay. What do we got here? Can you drive legally if you're blind in one eye? This was a question we had yesterday. The answer is yes, as long as the one eye that is functioning meets the minimum requirements as set out in the Highway Traffic Act. What do we have here? What is? Oh, so somebody's talking about Uvalde. That's in the United States, not here in Canada where we are. So I don't know what your allegations are specifically, but we're not going to talk about a horrific event that took place and whatever you said in 5 words that has no relevance to what we're talking about here today. I mean, you may have something very valid to say, but you didn't say it in the allegation you threw out in the comments. What do we got here? And Daniel Abraham mentioned just that to that person. Okay. Stop signs at Walmart. Is that city stop signs or private property stop signs? 90% of them roll it. They're not enforceable. They're not enforceable, those stop signs. Private property stop signs cannot be enforced because, like I said, they're not enforceable. And thank you to Michael, who just messaged on Telegram and said that there's a message from Chase. Here we go. And yes, anonymous, no YouTube messages are coming through, so I got to look at it on the itty-bitty phone. All right. Okay, what did he say? He said, question, so if it's only the HOV signs that are enforceable, can you legally cross over the line if there's a 200-meter gap with no signage? It is a really good question. I wouldn't go there. It's just not worth it. I mean, could you do it without, you could maybe argue it in court. I would assume those signs, you would need more than a 200 because they're good for 150 meters. And so if you have them from 150 meters in either direction of the sign, you should have, is it from the sign 150 meters or is it 150 meters in either direction of the sign, which would give you, that's too deep down the geek speak for me. I don't know. I have to look into it. Interesting. Can you do something to stop illegal driving instructors? They are a hazard to safety driving. I think that's great. I think we should absolutely investigate them and hold them to the highest, level of law. We should absolutely. I just don't know who would be, like, whose jurisdiction that would be. It wouldn't be a traffic investigation, although it impacts traffic. That would probably be fraud, or a jurisdictional. It would be a different unit that would investigate that. Okay. Aaron P. said, then why do cyclists do it? But I don't know what we're talking about. We got a dad vibes in a good way. I like that. Daniel's talking about a traffic officer talking about saying what he wants. I don't know where that's going. Recommend a pizza place. That's Cap. You know what? I've been really doing simple pizza. Like, I like Domino's. It's close to my house, so I go to a Domino's, and they're awesome. Not everybody likes conveyor belt pizza. They want, like, authentic pizza. I used to like one pizza place that in the town I grew up, but during COVID, they wouldn't let my kid use the bathroom, so I refused to go back there. And who says no to a little kid who needs to pee? Just saying. Anyway, so I don't have any really good pizza places to suggest outside of the fact that I just go to Domino's. But I'm open to suggestions. Are there any good suggestions for pizza? I'm not really doing carbs right now, but still. Daniel says, Sean, I'm a fan and not yelling today. I appreciate you not yelling because you were an all caps guy originally, but you are no longer an all caps guy. But I don't know how to answer you because you said a traffic officer told me he can say whatever he wanted over his radio, even if it's not true. But I don't know. Like, I don't know how to answer that. Why would they say something not true? And what would he say? And what would it matter if he said something not true? Like, the radio is used to ask for assistance, find out information. So if he said, I don't know, like the sky is orange, what impact? I don't know what kind of stuff would he tell you? Like, I don't get the question, unfortunately. I'm not trying to ignore you. I just don't understand. Like, if someone was caught not doing something appropriately or were lying about something, they'd be held accountable. So I don't know. Evan Davies says, yes, cops on TikTok. Yes, cops on TikTok. We've been here a long time. We're not going anywhere. Probably more will join. And Boy Mom says, good morning. This is going back because this is while Sergeant Campbell was still on the screen. Scrolling back so I can find this link. I hope you're having a great time. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're going to have a great weekend. I hope it warms up a bit. I've converted to shorts. I've basically said I don't want to wear pants, like long pants, unless I absolutely have to. So I've been wearing shorts all week, and it's gotten colder. It's gotten cold. My legs were definitely responding to cold. Good morning. I put my seat heaters on when I got my truck this morning. Good morning, gentlemen. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Here we go. What do you hear? Josh thinks that people who ride bikes should have insurance as well. I don't disagree. I think insurance is something that's good whenever you're in a vehicle, whether it's got a motor or not. Home insurance might cover them for some things, I'm told. I don't know. I'm not an insurance person. But I think having a license would be a great idea too, like some level of knowledge. Now, I'm also told that that's a barrier to accessibility and transportation, so people don't want that to be a thing, like people in the community, the bicycling community. The city of Toronto said they're not going to do it. It's on their website. It says we've looked into it. It's not cost effective, so it's not going to happen. But I think it would be great. Cap is serious about good pizza place. I used to like Mama's Pizza. It was really greasy because it's real cheese, and there's none of them near where I live, so I wouldn't go there either. Bashrat Ali, my friend who's with the police in Punjab, Pakistan, says, stay blessed, both officers. Love from Pakistan. Right back at you. Okay. Okay, Toronto downtown, Yorkville area for pizza? Seems like, I don't know anything there. NEFL 904 says, crazy hot take. Cops have too much power for their little education. How much education do you think people have? There's a minimum requirement to get onto the police service, and that's grade 12 education. Continuing education continues throughout one's career. Do you think someone who has a degree is smarter than someone who doesn't have a degree? They took a different path. But I can also say we have medical doctors who have become police officers. We have many lawyers who have become police officers. We have police officers who have become lawyers. Just because that they're a police officer does not mean they don't have an education. In fact, I know a police officer in Broward County, Broward County Sheriff's Office, has 2 PhDs. How little is his education? Just saying. People make a lot of assumptions, which is a sign of a little education. Just not enough. What's this? Okay. OIPRD for a complaint. So talking about complaints. Yeah, OIPRD has been renamed. I don't even remember what the new name is, but there is a new independent body that takes complaints. So Daniel is correct when he says that. Pizza last night in Victoria, BC was amazing, according to Josh. Good to know. Oh, secret pizza. Now I get it. Someone's trying to sell me something on Kick. No, thank you. I don't need to buy followers. We're good. Let's see here. All right, scrolling down. Someone asked about if police eat bacon, is it cannibalism? Funny. Okay. We talked about that. So just to repeat, lane splitting, not legal. In fact, it's quite serious. Does green paint mean anything more than a white bicycle sign? If we're talking about on the ground, it means that that's an area where cars might be turning, crossing like a driveway, signifies that to the cyclist to be aware that the car might be approaching, and likewise that a bicycle might be approaching. If you have one beer, one Corona extra 4.5% alcohol, how long do you have to wait to drive? Everyone's different. One beer generally doesn't impact someone enough to be impaired, but everyone is different, and I wouldn't tell you to wait a particular time because it's about how you feel and whether or not you are impaired. Truly, if you're going to be drinking, the best thing to do is not drive. I have a question about 401 lane. I was driving around 11 p.m. and carpool lane was empty. Is there a time when anyone can drive in it? No. There's always a carpool lane or a HOV lane, and you must always meet the criteria to be in it. Can cops smoke cigarettes on the job? Yes, but we're not supposed to do it in public. There's policies. So, you shouldn't be a police officer smoking in your car. Actually, nobody can smoke in a work vehicle. That's not lawful. They could be charged for that. So, no, shouldn't be smoking on the job. I don't know who smokes anymore. I smoked like in 1999 was my last cigarette. Cassidy is absolutely correct about sleigh bells. I know somebody who's laid that charge, or I shouldn't say laid the charge, got a conviction for that charge. So ask Sergeant Campbell about sleigh bells. He might be the person I know. Okay. And it is absolutely a real law. Why can I drive lowered or modded car without y'all pulling plates? I think you meant, why can't I drive a lowered or modded car without y'all pulling plates? The answer is it depends if your vehicle is safe. Oh, you see, they corrected it with can't. I missed that you got it, but you got it. So it depends. If your vehicle is unsafe, if you lower it and the wheels now make contact with the body or the frame, that's an unsafe vehicle. You're going to get a blowout. If you change the camber of the vehicle and now you have a contact patch the size of a quarter on your tire and you're riding on the sidewall, that's going to cause a blowout. That's unsafe. It depends on what the mod is. You can modify your vehicle. You just can't modify it in such a way that it's unsafe or illegal. That's it. What do we got here? I never thought I'd see the day TPS officers using soundboards on TikTok. What do you mean soundboards? Oh, I guess this. Soundboards. Got it. I was thinking about like something entirely different. Took me a second. I Ubered home instead of drinking and driving last night. That is the way to do it. So many ways to get around. And a $50 drive home if you're taking an Uber or taxi, and I just assume I don't do those things. I don't drink, so I don't have to look for alternate modes of getting home. But whatever it's going to cost you is going to be way cheaper than getting arrested, towed, impounded, legal fees. Just, yeah. What is the charge for 180 and a 60 in kilometers? Well, aside from the calculated speeding charge, it's stunt driving. So stunt driving, because you're in a 60, means anything 40 kilometers over the posted limit. That would be stunt driving in that particular situation. I would actually charge you for criminal dangerous driving in addition to stunt driving and speeding. But the actual consequence of stunt driving, aside from the 14-day vehicle impound, 30-day suspension on your license, is a 1 to 3 year driving ban on your first conviction, $2,000 to $10,000 fine, and up to 6 months in jail. Can special constables initiate a traffic stop? Not here. Maybe one day. Sean, also just constructive criticism. You cherry pick questions. I do skip ones that are offensive or irrelevant. I don't read every line of every text. I scroll through to find things that are relevant. I acknowledged you because you're not yelling. Can I drive 100 kilometers an hour in my garage? If you had a garage that would accommodate the safe operation of a vehicle at 100 kilometers an hour, I'd be surprised. But are there speed limits on private property? As long as you're going under 150 kilometers an hour, technically speed is not enforceable on private property. Let's see here. If we have video of cars doing stunt driving, what should we do? Well, if it's in the city of Toronto, on-road or off-road, like private property, you could make a report. We would use it as an information gathering report. We couldn't necessarily lay charges unless we could identify time, date, location, vehicle, and driver. But it's possible that it could lead to a conviction. You can make reports online at tps.ca. There is a portal for making reports. Okay. 3 points must be canceled for small violations? I don't understand what you're asking. Like, I don't know where you're going. Yes, zipper merge is the only way to go, 100%. Fill all lanes and zipper merge. I 100% agree with you, Daniel. If it's solid line, you're not supposed to. It's a suggested don't pass, but you can't cross the solid line. You actually can in Ontario. Other provinces no, but in Ontario you can. Yeah. Pet peeve, I'm using the HOV lane and people think it's a fast lane. Sheesh, you're right, Janet. It's not the fast lane. The speed limit is the same in all lanes. Whatever the posted limit is the posted limit. And people don't understand what it is and very often will jump into it and jump out of it. And I wish people would go and look online for HOV crashes, because what happens is someone's booking it at 100 or faster, and then someone who gets impatient says, I'm just going to duck into the HOV lane, and they're doing 2 kilometers an hour. The resulting collision is explosive. How much can I drink and drive if I am 25 with a full G? Patty Mahomes. Drinking and driving, well, you can't drink and drive simultaneously. That's impaired. You can't have or consume alcohol in a motor vehicle, period. If you're talking about can you have, what limit can you legally drive with in Ontario? Aside from the fact that if you are impaired regardless of your limit. Impairment can happen with any amount of alcohol or drugs in your system. But if you are not impaired by drugs or alcohol, but you are above zero, you can have up to 0.049 BAC, blood alcohol content, for the Ontario limit. You're legally permitted to drive at 0.049, assuming you're not impaired. At 0.05 to 0.079, you are now going to get a suspension, an administrative suspension from Ontario government, or on the MTO. We're going to issue that, and you're going to suspend your license for 3 days on your first offense, 7 days on your second. Does it go to 10 on the third, or do you go into a longer thing in therapy, like a course? I don't remember. But if you are 0.08 and above, you are going to be charged for the appropriate offense, and it's against law. It's criminal. Okay. Abowed Salty says, points must be canceled for small offenses. Why? And what's a small offense? Non-moving violations do not come with points most often, but those that do have points, the whole idea of the points are to take away your license if you accumulate lots of them. So follow the law and don't do dumb stuff behind the wheel. You won't have any problems. You won't, like, points only last for 2 years from the date of the offense. And if you're not accumulating stuff because you're not breaking the law, you don't have any points anyway. Stop breaking the law. You'll have far better experiences. If it's a dotted zipper merge, regardless of what the line is, zipper merge for the win. Keep up with the flow of traffic if you're in the HOV. Which flow? Whose flow? Speed limit, people, that's the maximum. Not a kilometer more. Nothing legal about speeding. HOV or otherwise. Should I go to Instagram to ask the question? No, Instagram's like the worst. Did you? I don't know. One question says, I got 6 demerit points. Would I be able to apply? 6 demerit points, I think that's the maximum you can have. If you have more than 6 demerit points, you will not be eligible to apply for the Toronto Police. But they expire after 2 years from the date of the offense. I got a small dirt bike. Will I be able to take it to my work, which is only 2 kilometers away? I'll ride on the side only. No. They cannot be anywhere on the road. You cannot ride them on the side. Can we request photo radar on our street? If so, how? You'd have to talk to your city. I don't think they do that. It's usually school zones. Okay. I didn't see Austin Small's question, but no, Instagram's the most difficult place for me to find questions. Just saying. Okay. My question is, why are tractor-trailer drivers are treated unfairly? Because it doesn't stop on a dime. That means you should plan ahead. I don't know what the context of your question is, but when people, they're not always treated unfairly. If you were doing the right thing and you were in a collision, but you did the right thing and you have dash cam or witness to support it, you shouldn't be treated unfairly. Things happen. People do dumb things around trucks because they don't understand what big trucks are. Let's see here. Oh, apparently I read Daniel's question incorrectly. Ask it again correctly so I can read it correctly. Can you do a TikTok dance for us? I wouldn't know what a TikTok dance is. I have a contract that says no dancing required, and I'll stick to it. I don't do baloney stuff. I'm here for the education, not for the. Well, I guess I'm here to be entertaining to some degree, but not by way of dancing. No. If I make a joke or make fun of you for asking me about dancing, then people can laugh at you, and I'll just keep talking about traffic. What do we got here? Lillian wants to know about at a red light and busy intersection. Can you proceed into a red light to allow emergency vehicles to pass? No. They should know to deactivate their lights and wait for the lights to change. You can't go and you'd not be covered. You'd be entirely liable for everything you do. You'd be breaking the law. The only time you can enter the intersection on a red is to make a right turn legally after coming to a complete stop. That would be the only situation that you'd be allowed to do it. It's 11:07. Do you know where your children are? I was just talking about being a Gen X and the fact that at 10 p.m. they used to come onto television, remind parents to figure out where your kids are. Yeah, things have changed. What's this? If there's what is this? Oh, we talked about that. Can we touch Tesla menus when we drive? What kind of menus are we talking about? Like if you're talking about changing the seating temperature radio, yes. If you're talking about watching a movie, because I think some people can do that, then no. Favorite donut from Timmy's? I don't like Timmy's. I mean, I drink their coffee, but I don't think they make good donuts. If I had to pick one, I mean, the classic is always going to be the chocolate dip. However, it would be the, what's it called? The apple fritter, but I prefer Krispy Kreme if I'm going to go down that road. Greg says, good morning, Sean, and good morning, Greg. How you doing? What is this? How can a driver that drives a tractor trailer stop a car driver from checking them? Brake checking is stunt driving. You wouldn't be responsible. You can not that you can rear end, but if someone brake checked you and you hit them, obviously you're not responsible for that collision unless you did something else that we don't know about. But if you have dash cam to support it, which is why I say everyone should have dash cam, someone brake checks you, we're going to charge them with stunt driving. We wouldn't charge you. And we shouldn't charge you. And if someone charged you, they were mistaken. But they didn't have supporting evidence to say the brake check. Because some people say, he brake checked me. Well, if he brake checked you from 6 blocks away and you were going too fast to be able to slow down appropriately, that's not exactly a brake check. But I don't know. I'm speculating and extrapolating from the stuff that you said, and here we are. What is this? No idea what we're talking about there. Can a G2 driver drive at night? I sure hope you read the book and you have a G2 and you know the answer and you're just pulling my leg. Yes, G2 drivers can drive anytime. Daniel's going to send me a video. Okay, send me a video. Can I drive What are we doing here? Doop-a-doo. Hey there. I'm live for a few more minutes. We're just going to wrap up the live stream. You can come in. You want to say no? No, this one. Don't want to say what is this? I saw a cop who parked in the middle of a parking lot the other day. He's entitled? What do you mean? And report him for what? And were they doing a report? Were they in the car? I don't know what your issue is with them stopping their car in a parking lot. Did they steal the only spot available, or you just don't like the fact that they had a police car in the park? I don't know where you're going with this. Anyway, scrolling through, trying to get to the end of this list. Tough Time says e-bikes need insurance. I think so too. Can insurance deny your claim if you have 55% tint front two windows? 55% tint is illegal, and any modifications that you haven't declared or notified the insurance company of could be grounds for them to not insure you or deny a claim. Do you know why? Because they're a private company that gives you a giant contract that you probably didn't read, and they probably have a line in there that says if you modify your car, you're not insured. So it's up to you to know the rules and follow them. And yeah, they can, like people, I've heard of situations where someone put an aftermarket exhaust in, got into a collision, and they denied the claim because it had an aftermarket exhaust system. What is this? Mr. Minx is something about a myth. Don't know what we're talking about. Is my personal vehicle tinted with the stock tint that it came with? Like it came with privacy tint in the rear of the SUV. That's the only tint on there. I don't tint my windows. First of all, I don't keep vehicles long enough to give $1 to tinting. I think it's silly. I wear sunglasses, and that's how I tint my windows, the ones that attach to my glasses. But no, I turn my cars over quickly. I wouldn't waste 5 cents on tint. What is this? Why are we posting pizza questions? They want to know about pizza today. Bleeds Blue, thank you for your service, Cheryl. Thank you for the thank you. I appreciate it. But it's my pleasure to serve. Who's in the wrong if a biker drifts out of the bike lane and into you? They are. You own the lane. They're in their lane. If they aren't paying attention and fall into you, if you couldn't avoid them, they were there. It's their fault. Daniel says that it's tough being a law-abiding citizen when enforcement is skewed towards revenue generation. Daniel, you are so wrong because it's not skewed towards revenue generation. It's just the law. Do this, don't do this. Simple. If you break the law, the revenue or the consequence, which is financial in some respects, is there to remind you not to do it. It's to dissuade you from breaking the law. But that's a baloney excuse if I've ever heard one. No, you just follow the law. The law doesn't change. Even if it was, if I said it was, manual labor, you had to go and break rocks with a hammer, or clean toilets with a small brush. If that was the incentive, you couldn't say it's revenue generation. But it's still you who breaks the law, and that's just the consequence, right? The financial one is just the most reasonable way of doing it. I don't know what else you could. I mean, jail time. What do you think would be the appropriate consequence for breaking the law? They take money out of your pocket. It's usually the motivator that works for people, but it doesn't make the money. It costs way more to enforce laws than it does any money that comes from them. What is this? If I've been arrested for possession of marijuana, but now it's legal to do so, do I still have to say I have? Well, if you have a conviction, you have a conviction. Your conviction didn't disappear because the law changed. So if you're required to disclose your convictions, you're still required to disclose your convictions. I don't know under what circumstances you'd have to, but maybe a job application or crossing the border. This is possibly the best comment. Explain the birds and the bees to us since we need help with everything. I think he's making fun of other people and some of their questions. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm happy to answer questions. I don't do the birds and the bees questions, but that's because this is a traffic channel and it's family friendly. But the end of the day, Traffic Act and Criminal Code are confusing things, and it's confusing to have so many different opinions and interpretations. So I give you the police perspective. I don't tell you that this is the only perspective. It's the police perspective. A defense lawyer will likely tell you that they have a different perspective and that they can defend you, and they might be able to. And that's up to the courts to decide in the end. What do we got here? I like the birds and the bee question. Consequences of riding a dirt bike on the road. If we're talking about a motorcycle, you're riding an uninsured, non-street legal, unsafe vehicle. It's not legal for the road. It's serious. So, I mean, drive no insurance because you don't have even if you were insured for other things, you wouldn't be road insurance. So that's $5,000 to $25,000 in fines, up to 6 months in jail. Like, it's serious. Okay. Would you ever pull someone over for going 10 over the speed limit? Yes, and I have. If you're in a 30 doing 10 over, I'm going to charge you for 10 over, not just pull you over for it. Why not stop drivers that do not use headlights, impaired, or thieves? I think that's what you meant by thrives. Yeah, I absolutely would. I've stopped so many people that had their headlights off and they were impaired. They just forgot to turn them on. So if someone was to drift on private property, it's not illegal? No, if they drift on private property, it's absolutely illegal. It's stunt driving. Daniel wants to know about meet and greets because he's sure we'd 100% be friends. We're going to be at the Honda Indy. That's going to be the next event that I'm at. Oh, it just reminded me something. I got to check the dates on that. Yeah, I really got to check the dates. I was just moving a week of vacation, and when is the Honda Indy? Let's have a look-see. Honda Indy, I look forward to you. It's truly one of my favorite events, mostly because of the people that come by and say hello. Let's go to the website. And do I have to submit more paperwork because I just messed it up? Or I guess I would just tell them to please ignore. Stand by. What are the dates? Come on. What are the dates? Where is it? July 19th to 21st. This is serious stuff, folks. I need to know if I just tried to move my vacation to those dates, which I would have to undo. That'll be really funny. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are done for the day. I got to get going. As I was reminded that someone's waiting on me. I totally forgot that they were standing outside my door. Okay. I think we're okay for the vacation. Cool, which is good to know. Have a wonderful weekend. Drive safe, drive sober, park legally, and we'll see you next week.